What are the professions that most people think is hard but actually isn't?
A lot of office jobs are hard to get but easy to do.
Many times IT support is incredibly chill. There were days I did nothing but play around on my phone because I didn't have any tickets. I say many times because some companies will assign you a bunch of busy work to keep you occupied. Ergonomics. My job basically consists of saying that blue on blue is shit if you want your user to know what they're doing.
Sanitation garbage man is not the dirty, backbreaking job that it used to be. With very few usually seasonal exceptions, you'd also be surprised at the pay.
Security for sure. But specifically unarmed security. Having worked at a casino, and then with a contract company, think Gardaworld, Allied Universal, etc. The hardest part about my job was the learning phase. Security usually runs like clockwork, unless you're in a particularly bad neighborhood. But even then, if you're unarmed, you're just a glorified doorman to keep insurance happy. Even armed security guards don't have it as bad overall, but the responsibility is sometimes more than the average person is willing to take on.
There are many jobs that this might apply to. I think the difference is that in many of these easy jobs, you only get one mistake. Mistakes can either be catastrophic or fatal. So the tasks may be easy, but you're being paid for vigilance, focus, and the ability to reproduce a task at the same level over and over. To me, that's the difference between easy, low-paying jobs and easy, high-paying jobs. If you mess up, no one dies. My former neighbor was an air traffic controller. He said it was super easy, like playing a video game. That surprised me. I'm an engineer. It's not terribly difficult if you have the right mindset. I tell people it's 90% experience, so it's not like anybody can just do it well from day one. But it really isn't the math that's the difficult part.
Most jobs are quite easy if you're naturally inclined to doing that type of work. And they're hard if you aren't.
Dermatology, just remember the 6 rules. 1. If it's dry, wet it. 2. If it's wet, dry it. 3. If they're not on steroids, start steroids. 4. If they're on steroids, take them off. 5. If you don't know what it is, biopsy it. 6. If you do know what it is, biopsy it. Dick Simple.
I'm genuinely convinced that most office jobs could be done by 15-year-olds. The hard part about these jobs is getting them, since you're usually competing against 100 to 1,000 other people who also want in.
I work in finance. Hard to get and not very hard to do.
IT, it isn't sexy work, and it does require some training, but once you're in, you're in. I've seen so many people phone it in. Basically just move the computer mouse enough to keep their status online, but not really produce much.
My pilot friend often says it's not that hard.
Banker, it's basically just playing with money that you can lose.
Military.
IT.
Proofreading.